This is the Sons of UCF podcast, your place for UCF sports talk year-round. Now, here is Adam and Mike.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Sons of UCF podcast. This is episode number 138. My name is Adam, and as always, I've got number one in your program, number one in your hearts. Mr. UCF Mike is back for yet another week. Mike, glad to be back, buddy. How are you?
Stupendous. Doing great this week again. Very excited about this week's show. A great interview. We just got done recording. So buckle up, people. This is a good one.
All right, well, hopefully you're always buckled if you are in a situation that needs to be buckled, and you do for this show, Mike. You mentioned a great interview. We've got that. We've got some headlines off the top. We still haven't come up with a big three topic. We'll figure that out in the break, I suppose, and then we'll always have Cow of the Week for you at the end. So that's what's on tap for you. All that for you is free. Just do us one quick favor. Just find us on social media. Make sure you're following us on all of those cool places at Sons of UCF. That's Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You can also follow us on our new website, which is twonightsmedia.com. Make sure you follow Mike on Twitter as well, at UCFMike1. Subscribe or follow the show. Give us a little rating. Give us a little review. Just do all those things, and everything else after this is all without much headache or much fanfare. So that's our little promise to you, and we'll have some fun this week, Mike. And you mentioned our interview. Terrance Plummer joined us this week. Listen, I'm not saying he has the best, maybe intentional mispronunciation of Josh Heupel's name, but you've got to stay tuned towards the end of this interview to hear Terrance Plummer talk about our former head coach, Josh Heupel. You're not going to want to miss this interaction.
Not only that, but an O'Leary impression that is probably the best we've ever heard.
And a shocking omission right off the top of the interview. He told us something that literally almost had me fall out of my chair and then vomit in disgust. So all that coming up with Terrance Plummer. Plus, Mike, I don't know, maybe this guy, maybe he should be hosting a UCF podcast because he knew more about UCF than we. He was rattling off stats, names. He had a bunch of knowledge. I mean, it was great to catch up with him. So you guys aren't going to want to miss that. That's coming up here in just a little bit, Mike. But before we get there, we'll do headlines. We'll kind of talk about some news and notes that are going around UCF, and we'll do them in our old-fashioned charge on, charge off style, which means I'm going to give you the headline, I'll give you the topic, Mike, and you tell me whether or not you charge on, agree with it, or charge off, disagree with it. So that's the game plan for this week, and let's hop right into it, Mike. We talked about this guy on the Sons of UCF Live this past Thursday when we were naming our 90210 characters, which apparently a lot of you did not like, so sorry about that. But one of the UCF legends, Mike, Manny Masiger, has been around UCF for 40, 45, I don't even know how many years. He's seen every coaching staff. He's been a part of the program. He was widely considered to be, one of George O'Leary's right-hand man. But Mike, he said something this week that is interesting. So here's your charge on, charge off. Manny says that the current coaching staff is the greatest coaching staff ever at UCF, Mike. I would contend that I love Manny to death, but it's way too early to be calling this staff the greatest ever, Mike. So charge on, charge off. The greatest coaching staff ever is currently at UCF.
Well, I have to agree with you. Manny's got to slow down a little bit. I'm going to have to charge off by default because they haven't even coached a single game yet. They have the potential to be the greatest staff ever. We know all the experience that Malzahn has and all the guys that he's brought in with him. Compared to the last two coaching staffs that were here, we're talking about two head coaches that were first-time head coaches, and then you got to go back to O'Leary. O'Leary was always a solid coach, but his staffs maybe weren't the recruiters that these guys are, and plus these guys just threw him a birthday party, so maybe that has something to do with it. They sang him happy birthday. Nobody had ever done that for him in the 50-plus years he's been around the program, so maybe he's a little influenced by that. I don't know. I'm hoping they turn out to be the greatest coaching staff ever. I just can't name them that before even seeing them coach a game.
Yeah, I think it's possible that maybe Manny thinks that this staff has the potential to be the greatest coaching staff ever at UCF. meaning he likes what he's seeing so far in terms of work ethic and energy and strategy and just being able to make relationships and partnerships. So I think it's possible he's saying that maybe they have the potential to be the greatest UCF staff ever. But I mean, they haven't even had a game yet. I think it's really tough to say that. Obviously, the O'Leary staffs. I mean, he won a New Year's Six bowl game. Scott Frost, for whatever you think of him now, and that that 2017 season, he seemed to be able to put it all together, and so much so that the entire staff left with him. So it's hard to say that there was a while where we had Mike Kruzak and Gene Chizik. I mean, that was our basically our head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Those are two pretty good guys. So I think this staff has the potential, and you got to be excited about it if you are a UCF fan and what they're able to accomplish. But I think it may be just a tad Rick Pitino premature to say that this is the best staff ever.
Yeah, going back, best coordinators ever. Those two you named, Kruzak and Chizik. That's a pretty nice duo right there. Team him up with Coach McDowell, and Manny does go back that far, so he should know. But maybe it's a little recency bias on his part, but we got to see the results when they start coming in this year. I hope he's right, and I want to be able to agree with him. I just can't do it yet.
Well, I think it bodes well, though. I mean, obviously, Manny's seen a lot of transition in coaching staff these past couple of years, and he even saw the AD leave in Danny White. And, as much as Manny's a legacy at UCF, he's never necessarily, I don't know that he's guaranteed to continue his role in the program. I mean, it would have been very easy for Danny White or Heupel or Frost to say, nah, I'm good. I don't need this guy around. And the fact that he's able to stay around and add value is a testament to Manny. And so I think that's a good thing. But he doesn't need to say this, right? He's already part of the staff, and the fact that he's already ready to come out after everything he's seen, and he's that excited about the staff, I think that bodes well. I think that must mean that behind the scenes he's seeing things, and you got to think about it from Manny's perspective, right? He's probably talking about player interaction and recruiting and the way the kids are feeling, and taking care of the players and some of the varsity night stuff. I know Manny's heavily involved in that, so you got to think about the things that he is probably most interested in. And if he's excited about that stuff, Mike, I think that just bodes well for UCF overall, because I mean, Manny doesn't have to say this, right? He could have just not said anything. And so obviously that he's feeling this way hopefully means he's seeing some great things early on from the staff, because again, he didn't say that about Heupel and his staff. He didn't say that about Frost and his staff. So hopefully this means he's witnessing some great stuff.
Yep, and nobody's closer to the program than Manny. So if anybody has the credentials to make a statement like that, it's Manny.
Well, one of the things, I guess, Mike, that'll make UCF fans think that Malzahn is the greatest coach of all time is his recruiting prowess. So another week of recruiting has come and gone, Mike, and that's essentially the end of the official recruiting period here in June. The dead period will begin here. I guess it began today on the 27th. Yesterday rather than 27th. So the dead period is officially back on. UCF now kind of waiting around. One more commit added to the list here over the weekend, Mike. TJ Bullard, who is he's a 6'1", 185 linebacker out of Tampa, 3-star guy. He announced his commitment to UCF over the weekend, but still not a ton of official commits. There's a lot of names floating around, a lot of guys who are the potential to UCF, a lot of names that we're looking at. We lost one guy this Monday. TJ Bull Dudley decided to go to Oregon over UCF and Alabama. Just imagine that list for a second, by the way. UCF, Oregon, Alabama. Who would have thought that a few years ago? That would be your final three. But Mike, here we are. So still only one more commit. That's the same question from last week. So charge on, charge off. Now it's officially time to panic.
No, it's not officially time to panic.
We're still charging off. Jesus.
Charge off. You just said the dead period just started today. So I think now in these next few weeks, while kids are not allowed to take visits anymore, they've had some time to think about it. I think we're going to see something in these next couple weeks. By July 4th, our guest on the Sons of UCF live show this past week, Brian Smith, said right around July 4th, you're going to start seeing a lot more commitments. We may get a few more here. The Bullard one's a good one. Son of Titus O'Neil, professional wrestler. His size seems a little small for a linebacker. He may have speed. He may be able to play safety as well, or he can bulk up. I mean, his dad's a big guy. Maybe he's got time to fill into that body and become a nice linebacker too. But like I said, one more commit this week, so we're adding one a week. We added a couple last week. it's going to start adding up. We missed out on one, but we lost to Oregon, and that's a good program there. We're in these battles with these big time schools. We're not going to get all these guys. We only have room for so many anyway. And another one that's looking like it's headed our way, that just decommitted from Miami, Quan Lee, wide receiver. We're hearing good things about him. That might be another pickup.
Well, plus the T.J. Bullard pickup is great because he's a kid out of Tampa, so it's always great to go into our other hometown team area and steal kids from the backyard of the Cows. So it's great to have this kid on board, Mike. And shameful admission, am I the only one who was kind of like, or never heard of Titus O'Neil? Am I the only person in America who had no idea who that was?
I've heard the name because I've heard him a commercial with him. Sometimes when I listen to podcasts, it's one of these commercials that plays over and over again, and that's one of them. I don't follow wrestling. I haven't in a long time. I used to when I was a kid. So if it wasn't for that commercial, I wouldn't know who he was. But a lot of people, I guess, seem to know. He might be a big-time guy.
Well, a ton of people retweeted that. Ken Jeong retweeted that. There was a bunch of guys retweeting Titus's announcement. And so maybe we'll gain some UCF fans just based on that connection alone. And who knows? Quite a wrestling connection coming to UCF. Obviously, Parker Pedro, not part of the WWE, but quite a wrestling. Cal Bloom, another one. Quite a wrestling connection at UCF, and obviously the training facilities in Orlando. Like maybe the stadium, the WWE stadium. Maybe that's coming soon.
I know some people threw that out there today on the internet. You know what? I started thinking. I already found the perfect sponsor. Brandon did drop a rumor that they are in negotiations with somebody. He didn't name who, so we may be getting a name soon. But my idea was, there's this company. It's from up north, but they just opened up an office down here in Orlando. White Castle. What about White Castle? Since we have the Knights theme, a Castle Stadium. Doesn't that make some sense?
I thought the Waffle House was a better one for you. I think the Waffle House is a good, the Waffle Bounce House or something. You get some options there. Guess you could do the White Horse Castle, or maybe that's a UCF play on words option. Obviously, you got the space stuff. Those are all options. Look, Terry Mohadra told you specifically, you asked him if he could guarantee a name on the stadium. He said he wouldn't guarantee anything, but that he mentioned that there were a bunch of different buildings that needed some names. So hopefully this means he's closing in on that deal, Mike. Obviously, the revenue would be huge. We have seen, I think, an uptick in shareholder society members joining. A couple of UCF Twitter Mafia guys have gotten in there. So I guess now is a good time. Maybe this is a time to strike with the irons hot and ink a big deal, whether it's with Waffle House or White Castle or WWE or SpaceX or who the heck knows, Mike. But hopefully we're on to something soon, because I definitely think it would be a really good financial opportunity for UCF.
Well, if it's going to happen, it's got to happen soon. Before the season, we're down to like 60 plus days to kickoff. You would think Mohadra would be working hard to get that done before the season opens.
Well, we'll stay tuned. So Mike's still not panicking about recruiting, which is probably the right thing to do. Again, there's still a lot of time left to go. And again, if you're not familiar with this, these are all just verbal commits. So ink has not been put on paper. And you mentioned Quan Lee, Mike. He's a guy who committed to UCF verbally 2 weeks ago. And he's already now out of that commitment for whatever reason. I think there's some rumors that they dropped him. There's some rumors he dropped them. Who knows? But 2 weeks later, that verbal commitment's already done. So that just shows you how quickly these things can change. These kids can have something else happen, change their mind. There's still plenty of time to go. Certainly understand if there's some frustration because you all expected 4 and 5 star guys and maybe they're coming soon. But I think you're on to something, Mike. You're probably still not quite yet the time to panic.
All right. If you tell me we come back from this break now when the dead period's over and we're still stuck in the same spot, we haven't picked up too many commits, then maybe I'll start panicking before the season starts. But even then, transfer portal, things change. Guys coming on their official visits during the season. It's going to take a lot for me to start panicking about recruiting.
All right. So, maybe something we'll see if you're going to panic about, because I don't think anyone really knows what this means, Mike. But you and I are talking on the 28th of June, which means we are 3 days away from July 1st, Mike. Why is that significant? Not because it's close to the 4th of July, not because it's a holiday weekend, Mike, but July 1st here in the state of Florida begins the name, image, and likeness rule, meaning that college athletes can now get compensated for their name, image, and likeness. Already we're seeing a few different guys who are posting on social media that they're open for conversations, hit their DMs. Maybe some guys are thinking about some apparel line and some clothing stuff, Mike. So there's still not yet a ton, I think, we fully understand about how the NIL stuff will work. But here's your charge on, charge off, Mike. NIL will ultimately be a good thing for student athletes. Do you charge on or do you charge off?
I'll charge on. I mean, we've talked about for years how these kids deserve to get some money, some payment for what they do. Everybody says, yeah, they get a scholarship. That is true. But there is so much money made off the backs of these kids. They get hurt and they get nothing for it. Why not? If they're able to make some money on the side, if it's not taken away from the team and it's not taken away from anything else, why shouldn't they be able to make a couple bucks? None of these kids are going to get rich off this. And maybe a big superstar here and there across college football. But the majority of these kids are just going to make some extra cash. You know, when I was in college, I was happy when my parents sent me $60, whatever. I tried to stretch that out for a few weeks, and then I'd have to mooch off you and some other roommates and try to get some free beer somewhere. So it's beer money for these kids, or it's just spare money where they can go out and have a nice meal here and there. So I think it's a good thing for them, and you know, if they can make $50 on the side, why not do it?
Do you have any concerns at all? Is there anything about this new rule, this new thing that concerns you at all?
Well, I mean, we've talked about some things. I mean, maybe it can cause a division. Maybe if you have the wrong kids and you get some guys on the team that maybe their heads get too big, they start making money, or if it does interfere with football and gets in the way of practice and things like that, then yeah, I mean, but we're not going to be the only team experiencing that. That's going to be across the board, schools everywhere. So when I asked Malzahn straight up if that was going to be an issue, he said it would not be a problem in his locker room. I got to take him for his word on that. I'm sure there are going to be some issues that come up that we haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah.
This thing it's new to everybody, and the schools don't know how to react. The states they're not even aligned. Some states allow it, some states don't. So it's going to be a wild west for the first few months. I don't think anybody's really prepared for what's about to happen, and I think we're all going to have to learn as we go.
Yeah, you're seeing a bunch of guys on social media saying that, you know, they're open to sort of be endorsers on social media. I'm curious where where the opportunities will come from. I know there's companies like Dreamfield, who we've had on the show a few times, who are working on sort of a portal for athletes. You know, will the opportunities come from simply, you know, retweeting something or posting something on their Instagram? Will it go as far as maybe an apparel line or a clothing company? Will it be like a stand-up, commercial advertisement for your local, dentist office? Will it be simply, signing autographs for a certain amount of money? I think I'm curious to see where the revenue comes from and sort of how that'll work for the college athlete and what role, if any, the school plays. I mean, we've talked about, are there conflict of interest? Are there things that they can endorse? So I think it'll be interesting to see how it all kind of plays out. I think it's an exciting time for college athletes, and I think that's the best thing about it is it's kind of a whole new territory, and it's cool that UCF is sort of embraced that. I know they've come up with some programs to try to help with that. So I'm curious to see where it takes it. Ultimately, I don't know if I charge on, charge off. I think the concept of saying that these kids deserve an opportunity to make a little bit of compensation based off of the work that they're doing, I think that makes a ton of sense. But what that means for football and the school and all that stuff, I think that's what makes me a little nervous, but still yet to be seen. So I don't know if I charge on or charge off at all just yet.
I wonder how it affects us. I mean, we've known for the last few years that we've been doing this show. We don't contact kids that are on the football team currently, that UCF doesn't want us to do it. But now that these kids are able to just make money doing their own things on the side, would they just say, hey, we want to go on with you every week and talk about the game we just played for what? I don't know. Name their price, $50 a week, $100, whatever they think they're worth, their time is.
Yeah.
Would UCF get in their way or something like that?
We might find out soon enough, Mike. Stay tuned. Big tease. Thursday, Sons of UCF live show could have something really interesting. So I don't know what that means just yet, but stay tuned. Maybe we'll find out early on. But it's a fair point. What stops them from wearing? Again, can they wear the hat of a? Could they wear a Sons of UCF hat to a press conference? Right. Obviously, they're typically in team gear. Can they break that protocol? Is that not part of protocol? If we pay, I don't know, Jake Hescock, $50 a month to wear a Sons of UCF hat at any press conference, is that a violation? Is that a good thing, a bad thing? So I think there's still a lot to be said about all of it. But it's an exciting time. I know I'm curious to see how it goes. I've seen a bunch of national media guys saying they have no idea what to expect here. It could be a floodgate, or it could be a much ado about nothing. So curious to see how the UCF guys take it overall, Mike. But we are there. I feel like we've talked about this for like 2 years now. So it's finally here. We're on the cusp, and obviously we'll try to do as much as we can to learn about it and bring you guys info on it, because it definitely will be an interesting time in college athletics.
Yep, we're all gonna figure it out together, because I don't think any of us really know what's gonna happen next.
Well, that includes you and I, Mike, and that includes what's going to happen coming up next on the show. Because as we stop this segment, we have no idea what we are going to talk about next. But trust us, it'll be something, and you probably won't want to miss it. So I think it's going to be the big three. So you may be surprised if it's not after this, but stick around. The Sons of UCF. If that's not a tease to have you come back for the next segment, I don't know what else we can do around here, Mike. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing, but stick around anyway.
Sons of UCF. Right back.
This is UCF head football coach Gus Malzahn, and you should listen to the Sons of UCF like your hair is on fire. Go Knights and charge on.
All right, we are 100% big fat liars, because we told you the big three was coming up, but we couldn't do that because we were sitting here and we were thinking about a great topic, and then we recognized that we have not taken the opportunity to formally have an in-depth conversation with the star of the newest Sons of UCF vehicle. That is the Sons of UCF Live. And so we've got to bring our friend Trace Trylko into the proceedings to talk a little bit about what we've been doing on Thursday nights, the live show, how it's working, maybe give you a sneak peek of what's coming up soon, and just get his overall thoughts on everything UCF related. So please welcome in our good friend Trace Trylko. Trace, greetings. How are you?
Doing well. We've done 23 Sons of UCF Lives. Good to see this idea coming up as we go into week 24.
Yeah, we had it slated for like 17, but we really dropped the ball on that. So, all right, well, let's go serious off the top. Obviously, you were a veteran of the UCF podcast space, and you decided let's give this video thing, let's give this live thing a shot. How's it going so far? How have you enjoyed kind of the switch to a video live platform?
I think it's good. I think that we go live on Thursdays, coming a couple of days after you've dropped your podcast, allows us to catch some midweek news. And there's been plenty, right? We were able to catch the Danny White move, the Josh Heupel move, and those other things that happen midweek. So I think it's good. It gives you two shots a week of commentary and fun and frivolity in the Sons of UCF space.
24 live shows, is that right? That doesn't even include the pregame shows that we were doing?
It's 23. Busy right now. You interrupted me hard at work on number 24 this Thursday.
We ran out of ideas. I didn't want to do a big three, but this is the new big three. This is us, right? Me, you, Adam. There's three of us here.
You saved it.
I'm not quite sure what I am. Some have said I'm just, lounging on the couch with my feet propped up on the coffee table. I'm not quite sure what I am. Am I the stepson, the uncle? What am I exactly?
They don't see all the work you put into these shows. If they saw the emails that go back and forth and all the prep you do for these shows, they would know that you're definitely a son now. You definitely put more effort into these things than I do, I think.
well, doing anything more than showing up at 7:59 would already vault me ahead. But
I was a couple minutes earlier than that this week.
Yeah.
I still, my favorite is when Ryan Schneider was ahead of both you, Mike, and I 1 week. That's what I like.
Yeah, what's been your favorite segment so far, Trace? Obviously, we've had a chance to have a lot of different voices in and around UCF. I mean, I can't name them all, but Jason Beatty was on, and we had Christian and Bailey on from their show. We've had a couple of media guys. I think we hit all the Orlando sports reporters for a while there. Just had Brian Smith on from Inside the Knights. So we've had a good cross section. Jamie Say, Matt Mearshell were on, and then we branched out. We've done some live guests and live mailbag type questions. We played some clips. What's been your favorite segment or the favorite thing we've done so far?
I really enjoyed the fact that we kind of got ahead of the curve on Renaya Jones, just sort of ascending in the track and field scene. The spring sports for the most part had come to a close, and we were able to talk with her as her star was rising over the last several weeks. So I'm kind of happy with that guest, and I just really enjoy getting to know you guys better. As I tell my friends who think that we've known one another a long time, Adam, I met you one time for 10 minutes before the Fiesta Bowl 3 years ago. So right. we developed chemistry in these squares on Thursday nights. So I've enjoyed that part.
Speaking of getting to know you, I know that used to be a favorite segment of yours. We've gotten to know you pretty well the last few months. What is something that the UCF fans don't know about Trey Trylko that you want to share with us tonight?
Jeez. Wow.
Jeez.
Barbara Walters is out.
I think the key part of that is that I want you to know. I think that's the key part of that. I don't know. I mean, I've been doing shows for so many years. Is there really anything left that people don't know about me? I was an exchange student during high school in Ecuador. You know that?
Yeah, I've heard that.
You know
one.
that one.
Yeah,
you know that one. I don't know.
I'm from it. Well, my parents are from Ecuador.
Yeah. So I knew you knew that, but I don't know that I've talked about that. I don't know. Ask me something you want to know.
Who's your favorite son, me or Adam?
Put it in a Twitter poll. I'll vote.
There we go.
Okay, let's ask it this way. Who are you more like? Adam and I are different in a lot of ways. I like to mix my food up. He doesn't mix his food up. We've had different things. Which son do you compare yourself more as, me or Adam?
Oh, I find I agree with each of you some of the time and share some things in common. About 50-50.
Ladies and gentlemen, politician Trey Trylko is here. Let's talk about something that I know we joke and we laugh about. You take great pride in these, though, is your walk and talks. And that's gotten a lot of attention. I know you first started this as kind of a post-game thing a few years back, and you were kind of filming some videos. And then they've taken on a whole new life of their own. We've seen you in the Rocky Mountains. We've seen you over highway overpasses on the side of the road. You were at the Bounce House this past week. What's your walk and talk process? How quickly are you deciding where to go? Is it spur of the moment? Take us through how you decide where the perfect walk and talk locale is.
Let me answer that question just by first saying that a week or so ago when we were out for the event for Lynn Cheek out at Burger U, I had an opportunity to meet with several Sons of UCF fans who said that they really enjoy trying to figure out where I am. And I had no idea that was something that people thought of. So that kind of caught me off guard. I do try to think about it Monday, Tuesday, as I try to do them on Wednesday. In the case of that one, I left Burger U, went over to the stadium. It was open. So I walked in, kind of had an idea of what we would talk about on Thursday and cut that. And if it held up, then I would drop it on Wednesday. Sometimes, quite honestly, it's a product of where I am and what time I have. So you might find me in and around my neighborhood a good bit based on work.
I'm smelling a new contest here. Win a Sons of UCF hat. Guess where Trace is doing the walk and talk. What do you think about that?
How many hats have you given away? 793 hats have been given away on this show. You've mailed 24, but you've given away a lot of hats.
Maybe we can.
I've never promised a hat and not sent it.
That's fair.
That's true.
Maybe we could give you a hat, Trace, and you hide it at your location where you film the walk and talk, and first person to go there and finds it gets the hat. You know what I mean?
The little scavenger hunt for Sons of UCF hats.
Why would it not be? Let's go serious topics for a second. One of the things Mike and I talked about off the top of the show, I think I know your answer to this, but we did this charge on, charge off style. Not sure if this is on the Thursday rundown, and I'm stealing something from you in advance, so I apologize if I am. But the beloved Manny Masiger came out, Trace, and said that this coaching staff, the Gus Malzahn-led coaching staff, is the greatest coaching staff in UCF history ever. That feels a little premature, but Manny's a legend, so I don't want to out dismiss that. So do you agree? Do you charge on with Manny's assessment? This is the greatest coaching staff at UCF ever?
It's a little too soon.
Yeah.
How about we play a game? How about we play Boise State on September 2nd? That's a guy very close to the program who's not going to speak ill of anyone connected to UCF. And I think that just continues to build in the off-season momentum that this program has experienced. I think it's a little too early. So if I must weigh in, that will be a charge off at this point. But check back in on the New Year's Six bowl game that UCF is in, and we'll jump on board.
I know you like to get a good laugh out of me trying to find some people to tailgate with before the Boise State game. Are you actually going to be at the game? Are you going to be reporting live from the game? Are you going to tailgate with us? What's your plans?
That's a question that's popped up a lot over the last couple of days. People asking me what I'm doing, where I'm going to be. Is it in connection with the Sons of UCF? And I have a lot of I don't knows to that. I think it depends on if we're going to continue with the pregame show. Sons of UCF live Thursdays, 8 to 9. The game starts at 7. We did pregame shows last season before games, so will we go live from 6 to 7? Will it be at the Sons of UCF tailgate, or will I be glomming on somewhere else? And I've got to figure out how to do live video from my phone somewhere. So there's some things we need to work out as well. And then there's some road games I'm going to be going on. So, what happens? Do we do a Sons of UCF live on a Thursday night and UCF's at Louisville on a Friday night? Do we do a pregame show before that? A lot of things that are uncertain. I think it really depends on what you guys do. And that was one of our mailbag questions that have already come in, wanting to know when you're going to decide. I think people want to stop by and say hi to you.
Yeah, we definitely have to figure out the location. This past year was a little different with the COVID. We couldn't go to any of the games, right? So that's kind of where the pregame show took off from. Now that we actually get to go to a few, I don't know how we're going to do it. But I think definitely the road games that we're not going to make it to, well, definitely we should still do a pregame show. And, I'm thinking about even doing it live. Maybe you'll see me at a watch party here in Fort Lauderdale or something and get some other fans involved. Like that was kind of my whole idea when we first started doing these things.
Well, and you guys were both at the Boca Bowl, and I was not, and we did a show. So kind of get the feeling that we can do one if one of us is kind of grounded somewhere. But if we're all together before the Boise State game, I just fire up the phone and let her go.
Yeah, I think we got options. If you're going to be on site, I think we last year we had a lot of reporter on the scene type stuff. We had some people joining us live from venues, right? So if Mike and I are not at a game site and you are, maybe that's something where you kind of pop in between moving around a little bit and getting yourself set up for the game. So I think there's plenty of options. I think it's up to the fan. Maybe we'll let them decide, right? Do you guys want to hear more of this Sons of UCF pregame stuff? Is there interest in watching that before the games now? Now more people can actually go to games than last year. So that was the other advantage is not only were the three of us grounded, but everybody else was kind of grounded too. So with people traveling to games now, is there still time in your life for a Sons of UCF live pregame show? Maybe let us know. Maybe that's a good question to find us on Twitter, and we'll let the masses decide, Trace. Let's let the people. We give the people what they want around here.
Well, remember, not everybody is in and around Central Florida. So you have people who watch from all over the country who are looking for content. Here's a fun fact. When I was at WUCF, FM 89.9, and we had baseball games, I was pre-game and post-game host on the radio during baseball and roving sideline reporter. So they would go to me at various points for hits during games.
Wow.
Wow. And we know baseball, they don't like to do more than one man in the booth nowadays. That was rare back then.
Yeah, it was something. The stuff you could experiment with on 89.9.
Are those tapes still available, Trace? Can we check those out?
I have no idea. There was some fun stuff. I remember seeing one of the pitchers leaving the dugout to retrieve a foul ball, and that's what they made the freshmen do back in the day. That was a fun story.
All right.
Well, that's the beginning of the walk and talk then, I guess. You going from dugout to dugout.
Well, in a manner of speaking. The walk and talk, though, is that I worked at a TV station in Huntsville, and we had a news director who wanted you moving on every live shot. He called it live shuck and jive. So no matter what it was, you had to be moving and doing something and having props. So it's just sort of ingrained at this point.
Terrance, our guest this week is Terrance Plummer. It was a great conversation. It was great to catch up with Terrance Plummer. Do you have a favorite Terrance Plummer memory? Do you have anything that sticks out from TP's career?
I don't know. I've had opportunity to talk with him. He's a fun interview. So other than that, he's a really nice guy and good to talk with. I don't know that I have a favorite Terrance Plummer standout memory, but I'm looking forward to hearing him.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for the audience who has not yet heard it based on the way the show will be laid out, but he has the best mispronunciation of Josh Heupel's name that I've ever heard in my entire life. Have you heard any other mispronunciations of Josh Heupel's name in your travels? Has anyone butchered his name, and can you share with us how it was butchered?
It's a family show, right?
It
it's
is
supposed to be using profanity. There's a couple of different ways I've said Josh Heupel's name before.
That's a great answer. That is a great answer.
I don't want to spoil this either, but one of the questions in our mailbag coming up on Thursday is which actors would you have play some of these former coaches for UCF? I have a different one for you. Which actors would play the three Sons of UCF? Who do you got playing Trylko in Sons of UCF the movie?
Oh my goodness, with these questions. Jeez, this is reminiscent of, is it a Kentucky Derby horse or a men's tennis player? From a couple of weeks back for the Sons of UCF Live. There the people that have been mentioned to me that say would be good to play me, I don't like those selections, so I never really attach myself to any of these. I don't see it. So I'll let the fans decide who would play each of us.
I'm gonna need you to tell me who those
Brad
are.
Pitt starring as Trylko.
Yeah, who are the names that you disagree with?
No, I vehemently disagree with some of these. My nephews have one in particular. I just don't see it. I think it's personality driven more than looks. But I'm not going there. You will not be getting to know this.
So we finally found the thing he will not tell us about. Trace, what's your stance on? I think I know where you were at with this, but recruiting obviously is a big business. It's getting a lot of attention, obviously, right now with the 15-month layoff and recruiting is back. We had Brian Smith from Inside the Knights on. Some fans are still a little riled up. We don't have a lot of commits yet. They want to see these big time commits, and we know it's a kind of a slow game to maybe take place. Where are you right now on UCF's recruiting class? Is there concern yet? Do you think it's going ahead of schedule? Is it on schedule? Is it behind schedule? Are you, as someone who's been around the UCF for a long time, is there any concern you have right now with sort of where we are from a recruiting perspective?
No concern. I think it's too early, and I think that there's more to this than the early signing period and National Signing Day. I think this is year-round. It's managing your roster. It's the transfer portal. I think Gus has made a splash in the transfer portal. I think that puts a little less emphasis on the recruiting. Remember, it seems like he's been here a long time, but he really hasn't, and got started a little bit late. And it's too soon for all of this. I know there are a lot of people really dialed in on recruiting. I think UCF is seeing a better caliber of better quality player coming onto the campus. And you know how it is. We've talked about this when you've had an opportunity to come on UCF's campus. You're like, wow, I didn't know it was like this. And that really convinced a lot of kids. I like seeing them recruiting Greater Central Florida. And it's surprising, you talked about the impact he's made, that the previous staff wasn't as aggressive in places like Apopka and near to UCF. They spent a lot more time recruiting Germany, for example, than Coach Malzahn has so far. Too soon. And I think there's only so high you're going to go with, and I know this label's going to go away soon. I'm not a big fan of this label, but group of five, a UCF, how high can you get in these recruiting rankings? It's still going to be about player development and, what staff does that. But I feel like there's a buzz around UCF with some of the higher profile people that they brought in. Certainly, we've gotten a little mileage out of the WWE crowd in the last couple of days, and I think that's good for UCF.
Well, speaking of WWE and this whole recruiting stuff, again on the internet this past week, people fighting over whether we should be disinvolved in recruiting as fans. Just bringing us back to the big fight coming up on the tailgate party. Have you been doing a lot of training for your celebrity boxing match coming up against Eric Lopez?
Is that who I'm officially slotted with? I will not disrespect Elo, as I have said. I am confident in my abilities to defeat him. I think he'd be scrappy, but I feel good about getting out of that round. Now, who do I face in round 2? What's the matchup? Have you bracketed this out yet?
Yeah, that's coming soon. The bracket is coming 64 team because I think we have enough UCF podcasters to fill up a 64 team bracket. Which UCF podcaster would you not want to see in the celebrity boxing ring? One of the dudes on the mall? I mean,
with no disrespect to the dudes on the mall, I may have passed them and not known them. No, I'm not concerned about any of the people in the podcast space. Are you? No.
It sounds like you're calling out Money Moo next. All right. You can just take out Eric Lopez and then Money Moo and then whoever else get in line. Right?
Why is it just me? Who are you facing? Who's Adam facing? Why? I'm the newest addition, and I'm the lamb thrown out to the celebrity boxing ring. Are you involved in this?
Well, I'm more of the Don King of the whole operation here. I set up the fights, I collect the money, and somebody wants to go out. If somebody wants to step in the ring with UCF Mike, let's do this. Let's dance.
You got a lot of plans there. What is this ring going to cost if the bucket of ice is $75? What is that going to look like?
If it helps you out,
haven't figured all that part yet.
Yeah, if it helps you out, we had a plan for this segment too, and here we are, Trace. So we'll get you out of here. I know you got a random call from us, and now you're on the air, so we appreciate that. What can we expect from this Thursday's Sons of UCF live show? Mike and I have not seen the rundown. Give us a little behind the curtain sneak peek. What are you working on?
A little bit behind the scenes for fans and really for the two of you. After we go off on Thursday, I don't really think about the show Friday, Saturday, Sunday, though I try to have the guest lined up. And then I really kind of listen to what you guys do when you record. Yes. I don't want to repeat too much unless there's a topic that's still newsworthy. So I'm really trying to catch Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday news. And Thursday will be July 1st, and that's when Florida's name, image, and likeness law goes into effect. So I think that'll be part of the plan for Thursday is to talk about that. And we've been having some success with these mailbag questions. So I think we'll answer some more of those on Thursday. Not a lot of news going on, but, we're only less than 70 days, 66 days as we record now, until kickoff against Boise State. We kicked off last week talking about the quarterback position. This week we moved to the running back, so we'll talk about that as well. So there's always something for us to talk about on Thursday nights.
And if I'm not mistaken, Trace, that's 8 to 9 p.m. on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as twonightsmedia.com. I think those are all the places you can find us. And you can follow Trace on Twitter at @signpez, all one word. Again, catch him on Thursdays. Trace, you answer the phone. That was your first mistake. You keep answering the phone. That's another mistake. But either way, Mike and I are glad and happy that we're able to put something together, and we've got 23 episodes of this thing done, plus pregame stuff, and hopefully we have another 23 more in us. You never know, but we take it week by week. But we definitely enjoy working with you, and we're glad we were able to figure something out.
Well, just remember this impromptu interview when you put together your favorite guests of all time. I'd like some consideration on that list this time.
Oh,
well, you're not a guest anymore, Trace. You are part of the show.
There we go.
Yeah, okay.
Part of the show, nearly part of the family. Kind of like it.
All right, Thursday night, Trace Trylko. Don't miss him, and we'll be there with him too. See you, Trace.
All right, go Knights.
This is UCF Athletic Director Terry Mohajir, and in my spare time, when I'm not on TikTok, I'm listening to Adam and Mike on the Sons of UCF. Go Knights and charge on!
All right, our guest this week was a man amongst boys. He made some of the biggest plays in UCF history, and this guy just gave his all-out effort every single game, every single season, and he was part of one of the most iconic teams in UCF history. And Mike and I are really honored to have Terrance Plummer joining us on the show again this evening. Terrance, first off, thanks so much for taking the time, man, and we appreciate you hopping on with us.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm glad to be a guest. Love what you guys are doing for UCF.
Awesome. Well, we love what you did for UCF. And let me start off with how you got to UCF. You were a local kid from Orlando, right? You were in Orange Park, and you decided to stay close to home and go to UCF. What drove your decision to want to stay close and become a UCF Knight?
So I'm gonna correct you. I'm from Jacksonville.
Okay.
I actually went to Orange Park, is actually right outside of Jacksonville, but I grew up in Jacksonville my whole life, and then my mom moved us when I was about 13 years old to Clay County, which is right there in right next to Duval County. But I'm from Jacksonville, but I'm still pretty close, right? So I wanted to stay in state. I had a few in-state offers, and actually my first choice out of high school was going to be USF.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Crazy story, man. I felt like I was going to be a USF Bull. My cousin Sam Barrington had played for them. He carved out a great career and went on to the NFL, and I was going to follow in his footsteps. But I went down there. I went and took my official visit to USF. I was excited. I had a basketball game that Friday, so I came down that Saturday. I liked the school, liked the coaches, everything like that. But they actually took my scholarship away the day that they were asking everybody if they were going to commit or not. They said, we got enough linebackers, and we think, you're a great player. You were high on our board, but because we've already signed a lot of linebackers, we don't have a spot here for you. So instantly, I'm like, hold on. I feel like I'm the best linebacker here. How y'all taking my scholarship away? So I actually my next weekend visit was to UCF. I was going to take it regardless. My current wife was actually going there before I was, and I was thinking I was going to be a USF Bull, telling her, we're going to be rivals, because she went to high school with me. But she said, go give UCF a shot, So I went. Coach Beckman was my recruiter, and I had a great time. Jordan Ozerites, Troy Davis hosted me on my recruiting visit, and I loved the atmosphere. They had just won the Liberty Bowl, so I felt like they were moving up. We were going to move to the Big East, which changed to the AAC. So, I became a Knight, and the story's told from there, I guess.
My God, Terrance Plummer as a cow just doesn't sound. Something about that. I need to go shower. Something about that just doesn't sound right. Thank goodness that worked out in our favor. Man, oh man.
Yeah, we're about to go over a bunch of games that he had a big part in. Who knows if we win half of these or not?
I know, right? Well, let's talk about your career, TP. You started and you played a bunch as a true freshman. You played 11 games that true freshman season, which a lot of guys want a red shirt. A lot of teams want to have guys red shirt. But looking back on it, are you glad that you got to get into the games right away? I mean, did that transition you think help you throughout your career playing early on and kind of taking some lumps as a true freshman?
Well, at first when I was in college, I used to think, dang, I could have spent that time red shirt and getting faster, stronger, getting more in depth with the defense. But Coach O'Leary actually was kind of like a linchpin in that, because I had Josh Lanham, who was a great linebacker before me, was part of the Liberty Bowl team, and he was back for his senior year, and Josh was playing really great, but he had faced a few injuries, and going into it, and my only goal was just to make the bus my freshman year, be able to go travel to the game, see what the atmosphere was like, and I wasn't expecting to play. But, I got pushed into that situation at UAB. I actually played the first game versus Charleston Southern, but, back then, if you didn't play, you got to play the first 4 games, and then you could redshirt after that. But after the 4th game, I was still getting in, still getting a little bit of time. And my first time actually, real getting game experience was versus UAB. And I ended up with 6 tackles. I did okay. Not like how I, judge myself, but it showed me that I could play with the guys, at a young age. I was only 18 at the time, so it was kind of, during college, I felt like, I wish I could have redshirted, but as I look back, it kind of made me step up for my sophomore year and gave me a little bit of confidence. Like, okay, I can step out here and be, on the same level as these guys who are already in college. So, looking back, it showed that, getting that confidence really helped me.
What was the biggest transition for you? Was it speed, size? What was the most difficult thing to adjust to?
Speed. I felt like in high school at times I used to be like floating out there on the field, like making plays because it was just like everything's moving at a lesser rate, so I was able to read and diagnose plays so quick. I was in the backfield fast. But when I got to college, the linemen are moving a lot better. The running backs a little bit faster, receivers a little bit faster. The quarterback's got some mobility, so the whole game just sped up to a tremendous level. But going through camp that year, I think kind of helped me. We had Jeff Godfrey as our starting quarterback at that point in time, and he was fast, and we had some good players. And me, I always pride myself on being a gamer. Like I never want to be the guy that lets the team down, even in practice. In football, one person could be out of line, and that's a 40, 50-yard run. So I just didn't want to be that guy. I always wanted to be the person who was productive, helping the team. Not the one hindering it. So I think, I had to step my game up, just, lock in a little bit more, take the time to watch film. And I think, the speed of the game was definitely a difference, but I adjusted by, my junior year. I feel like sophomore year was still a little fast, but junior year, I really adjusted.
So you got your feet wet in 2011. 2012, you really started making a name for yourself. One of the big games early in the year at Ohio State, we lost, but you had 15 tackles in that game. What do you remember about playing in the horseshoe?
Oh man, that was a crazy day, man. Because before the game, it was raining. It looked like it was gonna be a bad day. We were trying to gear up for the run versus Carlos Hyde, and we come out to the stadium now. It's 100,000 people in there, and it's kind of like one of those fight or flight moments. You got to dive head first in, or else you're gonna get exposed out there. They had some great players. And what I remember about that day was, I just said, you know what, this is who I felt like, this is what level I want to be on. So let me showcase my talent on the highest stage, and let's get this win, because I felt like we could have won. We were in the game until the second half, I just remember that I just tried to give it my all that day out there versus Ohio State, and kind of set the tone for me versus those big teams. I feel like I played well versus all the big teams because I had an underdog mentality. I wanted my respect more than anything.
Yeah, I remember they challenged us early in that game. They went forward on a couple 4th and 1s, and we stopped them early in that game. We just didn't have enough to finish it off against those guys, right?
Yeah, that's it. Jonathan Davis made I think Ray Shipman made one play, and Jonathan Davis came off the edge and just flew in and flipped Braxton Miller, man. It was crazy. It was one of the best plays I've seen, and we had stopped him then, but in the second half, with those big linemen and those big D linemen, they were wearing us out a little bit. They started moving the ball, and Braxton Miller did his thing. And one thing I could take away from that though is that they went undefeated that year. They didn't get to play because of the penalties that was against Ohio State. But we lost to a undefeated team, and we held our own for the first 3 quarters. So it's nothing to hold our head down on, because it set the tone for the next year.
Right. You saw the team starting to build a little bit there in 2012. So we started off 2-2, but then we go on a 6-game winning streak. The defense is really coming together. You mentioned Jonathan Davis, Ray Shipman, other guys like Clayton Geathers, Brandon Alexander. You guys growing together, building off that 2011 season into 2012. What was it about the defense that really started gelling that year?
Man, we just we knew that, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, we had a great leader, Kamal Ishmael. Who won Defensive Player of the Year that year. And Ziggy had this, we call him Ziggy. That was his nickname amongst the team. But Ziggy had just such a great, feel for the game, and he wasn't a talker. And neither was Clayton. They both went over 100 tackles that year, which is crazy for a safety tandem. And I had 100 tackles, so we were doing pretty well back there. But those guys like Ziggy and Clayton, they set the tempo early in practice, early in camp. Kamal was such a smart player, always in the right spot, right place, playmaker, and he was probably our hardest hitter. And when your safety's your hardest hitter, that makes your linebackers like, hey, we got to step it up, man. So he just kind of set the tone from the beginning of the season. And as like you said, we started off 2-2, but then we built up our confidence. We kept going, and we finally beat Southern Miss, and we hadn't done that in a while. Southern Miss had been a tough thorn in our side for a couple of years, and we got over that hump in overtime, and we just kept kind of rolling from there. So I have to give the credit to Ziggy on the field, and of course, Jim Fleming did a good job, Tyson Summers and Coach Kurt.
Well, you mentioned thorn in the side, and maybe no bigger thorn in 2012 than that team in Oklahoma, Tulsa. Two tough losses. Terrance, what is it with Tulsa? We're still struggling with Tulsa now, but what do you remember about those two games in the end of that 2012 season? And what do you think was the deciding factor that you guys just weren't able to get over the hump against those guys?
Well, Tulsa, man. You got me. I don't like to go to Hurricane. I really don't. But to be honest with you, the first game they dominated us. When we went out there to Tulsa the first game, they were more physical than us. They had more command of their offense than we did of our own offense. The time of possession, they really whooped us. They were able to grind those tough yards out, and they were able to go over the top of us, in the beginning of the game to even break the game open. So, the first game they really dominated us. I have to give the credit to Tulsa for that. Now the second game, the UCF, I should have three conference championships in my eyes, but that game that was the tip ball game when Kamal comes down. The ball bounces in the air and he goes to grab it, but he tips it forward. So when somebody touches it, doesn't mean the ball's dead, but we're all crowding around the ball. And Tulsa already had players going to the sideline. You can see it on the ESPN film. They already had players on the sideline. And then I'll never forget, Trey Watts came and after we had tipped the ball, we were all about to go pick the ball up because Coach Leary always told us pick the ball up, hand it to the ref. It was just one of those freak plays. He picks the ball up, runs off the sideline, but, what wasn't shown, we didn't have a replay or anybody, no referee called it, but Tulsa's players they touched the sideline, then they came back on the field and they had two crucial crackback blocks that led the guy down the sideline, and they got the lead from there. We went to overtime because we were up at that point, and then we went to overtime and lost. The momentum had just completely shifted off of that play. But to be honest, I felt like we had them beat that second game, and bad luck and a little bad officiating. I gotta admit, bad officiating.
They blew the whistle.
They blew the whistle too as well. So, it was literally, people could hear, we heard the echo of the whistle as well on the TV cut up and, on the field. So, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know what was going on. I felt like somebody hit the VW3s button and said, let's make this an overtime game. But, yeah, they got us twice. And it always burns a hole in my heart. But, I never let them beat me at that again. I promised myself that, and we didn't, so.
Is it more frustrating? Obviously, a loss probably sucks no matter what. But is it more frustrating when it's out of your control, right? If you play poorly, you make a mistake, right? You can at least look back and say, "Here's what happened." But does this one hurt more because of that factor, right? Because of the things that took place that are kind of outside of your control.
Yeah, most definitely. When you feel like something's stolen from you and you can't get it back, it hurts a little bit more. Even if like you said, if you have a bad game, at least we can go in the film room the next day, recuperate. See our mistakes and then go out there and practice and, try to get better. But that game, it was the last game of the season before the bowl game. And, that one stings because we felt like we prepared hard. We went hard that week in practice. We had a great game plan. We really held their offense below their season averages in that game. And, when that happens, it just never sits well. But, it is what it is. And, it helped, like I said, it just kept building that momentum for the next year, so it helped out.
We've talked to a lot of guys about this game. I don't know if we've ever asked this question. What was Coach O'Leary like after the game? Because he strikes me as the kind of guy who just doesn't make excuses, and the scoreboard is what the scoreboard is. What was his message to you guys after the game? Was he kind of on your side of saying, like, hey, this one was stolen from us, or was he kind of continuing to coach and say, hey, we still could have had plays to win the game?
I'm going to be honest. I can't remember what Coach O'Leary was saying because I don't think I heard anything what anybody was saying at that point in time. I was so upset and angry that we had lost the game. I can't remember exactly what he said, but if I know Coach O'Leary, he said it was we had opportunities to win the game before, And, it's on us, at the end of the day. We can't leave it to bad officiating. And every great coach I've ever been a part of, every great organization I've ever been a part of with a great coach, they always say, never leave it up to the refs. Do your job, handle your business. So that way, at the end of the day, it's a definite, that we won the game and nothing else happened. So, I'm sure that's what Coach O'Leary said. But to be honest, I can't remember exactly what he told the team, because I was just so upset that we lost the game.
Well, let's turn the page to 2013. Obviously, a magical year for UCF. And I think, for me, one of the more underrated games of that year was one of the early season games. You guys head up to Penn State. They do the whiteout thing, 100,000 plus. You play really well. You had a forced fumble in that game. And we come out with a victory in a Big Ten school at a packed stadium against a quote-unquote blue blood program. How big a game was that for you guys to win early in the season, particularly on the road against a Big Ten team?
It was huge. It was huge because if there was going to be an opportunity for us as, being, mid, I'm putting air quotes by mid-major, but mid-major school, to go into Penn State, going to Happy Valley and beat, a Big Ten team with, great talent on the other side of the ball. A lot of those guys played in the NFL. And for us to go do it, it was our time. Honestly, we had been due for a while. Over the years, we've had, opportunities, Texas, Kansas State, BYU, all these games in which, we just couldn't get over the hump. But this year we almost, now defense, now to be honest with you, I had a great game, but at the same time they had about 480 yards on us. I think Allen Robinson had about 220 receiving. So we didn't play the best that game, but to be honest with you, our offense played phenomenal. Storm ran well. Reese had a great touchdown catch on the screen. JJ had a great touchdown catch. Also, people don't realize that Torian Wilson, our starting left tackle, didn't play that game, and we had to kick Justin McCray to left tackle and move in Tariq Cook to the right guard position to now play it next to Chris Martin. So our offense really put it together that game, and that's when I knew, okay, we got something special here. Because even when the defense wasn't clicking, the offense had our back. And sure enough, it would come many opportunities for us to flip-flop during the season to, pick each other up. And then it just showed what we were made of. We won that game, and it set the tone for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that set up a big showdown the next week at home. I think it was our first game ever on ABC when South Carolina came to town. Spurrier, Clowney, all those guys. You had a big day. Another 14 tackles out of you, another forced fumble. But correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm going to blame you for the loss because you knocked the quarterback out, right?
You ain't the only person blaming me for that, my guy. I promise.
We were cruising in that game. I'm 10 minutes at the half. I'm dancing. I said, there's no way they're coming back. They have no quarterback now. But basically what that did was force them to run the ball on us, and they ran right down our throats in the second half.
Yeah, they did, man. And they had two great guards who played in the NFL who still currently play in the NFL, and Mike Davis, the running back, who still plays in the NFL. And you're not the only person who's told me that, man. I was cooking. I was just trying to get Connor. I was just trying to get the ball the whole time. If you look at the play, I'm seeing Connor running with it down low. So when I go to punch, I went and shot my right arm, but I hit him dead in the shoulder. So it knocked the ball out, but I knocked his shoulder out of place. So so it kind of like was a double-edged, one of those good bad things, because Dylan Thompson came in there. He made a couple good throws, and Mike Davis, they went straight power. We weren't lined up right a few times. Clayton Gathers got hurt, and that kind of was the game right there. They took it over in the second half with power, SEC powerhouse football. So, got to give credit to them. And we still had a chance. So, that was when they were ranked pretty high, and they had the Davion Clowney. So, I always think about that game all the time, like, what if we'd have won? But, it worked out for the best.
Yeah, I mean, we still wouldn't have been allowed to play in the championship game, even if we were undefeated. We've seen that anyway. So, we went as far as we could have, regardless. But the next week, I remember vividly because it was actually my birthday. The game at Memphis, we're playing. We're not playing that great, and Memphis is not even that good of a team back then. And they're hanging with us, and It comes down to the very end with the stand back hit to score the touchdown, and then you actually saving the day on the last play when they're doing a halfback pass, interception in the end zone to clinch it. What do you remember about that play?
Man, that was so first off, let me talk about a stand back play so I can give my dog his flowers. Because William Stanback is doing a great job up there in the CFL. I love him. I love that kid. He's worked really hard and made his way, professional ranks. So especially after having some troubles, and now he's stepping himself up. Especially in life. He's went through some tough things. But that kid was special as a freshman. William Stanback did some great things. But one of my other teammates actually got hurt. So I was a second string on kickoff at the time. So coach said I had to get in the game. So I was like, okay. Galvin kicks the ball off. So the guy's running straight at me. So I'm trying to hold off the guy trying to block me, trying to keep my outside arm free. I'm like, okay, he's running right towards me. I just got to get off the block to make the tackle. So he's running. I'm trying to maintain it. I'm about 7 yards away from him, just trying to make sure he doesn't break out early. I got to get off the block quicker, trying to maintain my lane. And all of a sudden, like the flash, like I just can't even, like a flash in the skillet. All I see is boom, ball out. Trylko Johnson picks it up. I'm like, what just happened? And then I look at this video board and they show the replay. Stanback had just crashed that guy. Oh my goodness, it was such a great play. Shout out to William Stanback. I appreciate you, bro. You helped me get a Fiesta Bowl. Now I got to give my flowers to another player, Clayton Gathers. On the halfback pass, I see they throw the sweep out to the back. So I'm looking like, okay, they could run a sweep in the end zone, but we're pretty much covered over there. So but I started noticing he's bucket stepping back. Usually when the back hits a sweep, he's already trying to get downhill as the ball approaches him. So I noticed that. So then I noticed that, and then he rides up. So I start drifting to the back of the end zone. They actually had a guy sweeping across the end zone. Clayton saw it too, so he backs up. So he jumps up. He's about to catch the ball. He drops it, and luckily it falls right in my hand. I catch it one-handed, and we end the game. What I remember about that play, that play was a good play in my eyes, but, at the end of the day, I got to give credit to my man Clayton for tipping it. Sure enough, I caught it, and we ended the game. So, I was aware at the time, so it worked out for me.
Well, I mean, things did not settle down much after that, right? So the very next week, we head to Louisville. You guys get down 28-7 in the third quarter, and then things kind of turn around a little bit. Where were you at third quarter? Take me onto the sideline. You're down 28-7. What are you and the guys on defense saying? What's kind of your game plan? How are you guys kind of thinking about this game? And did you think you could get back in it?
It was an eerie calm. We were all calm, no lie. We didn't fold under pressure that day, and just being honest, the way the offense was moving the ball and the love they were giving us as a defense, we stayed really calm that day. Coaches weren't yelling. We were just coaching up, seeing how we can get better, figuring out what they were doing. Everybody was just locked in. To be honest, if you ever look at the game film, the offense, you can see Brashad Perriman, Rennell Hall, Jeff Godfrey, Josh Reese, twins, Justin and Jordan, and all those guys on the sideline. They were playing music and they were just jumping up and down while we're down 28-7. Just like, this is the time. This is the opportunity. We got to see what we made of. We lose this, we don't get anything. We don't get that BCS. We're playing in the Bitcoin Bowl again, guys. So it was an eerie calm over all of us. And sure enough, offense make a play, offense score. Next thing you know, defense, okay, we're back. We get a forced fumble by Clayton. Then I make a play. It was just we were calm in that time, and we were just enjoying in the moment. We lived in the moment. I think Louisville kind of let off the gas. They didn't realize that what we were made of. And by the time they tried to pick it back up again, we were already full steam ahead, and they couldn't never get the lead back. So that's why I remember about that time and being on that bench. We were just all calm.
All right, settle this one for us. We've asked a bunch of guys who played in that game. The game-winning TD pass from Blake, was that really going to Godfrey, or was that really to Rennell Hall, and it was just a bad throw by Blake? Who was that ball meant for, in your opinion?
It was meant for Godfrey, but this is okay. It's Rennell. That's my boy. He my roommate, and my brother. All them guys, my brothers. But I know for a fact because Rennell's told me. So on that play, they ran a rub route, right? Shot Perriman comes inside. Rennell has the underneath, and what we're trying to do is squeeze Jeff all the way to the back of the end zone to the back pylon so that way we can loft it over the top. So, but when we're running the route, Speedy with his extra athletic self, he thinks Blake's throwing the ball to him, and he's thinking in the back of his head, oh my goodness, this ball is so high. If I don't tip this ball, it's going to get intercepted by these Louisville guys because it's going to go over my head, not realizing that Jeff was right behind him. So he goes and jumps for the ball, fully extends, and thank goodness he ain't touch it. Blake put just enough touch over because Speedy had like a 42-inch vertical. He throws it right over him and then lands in the Jeff. So thank God Speedy ain't tipped that ball, or else he might have messed up UCF history. And thank God that Jeff was right there because that's where he was supposed to be. I think it was a great pass by Blake. I didn't think it was a bad pass.
Oh, no, it was a great ball. We always just argue who that was meant for, right? We heard some guys say it was for Speedy, and I think Godfrey even said it was meant for him too, but it's always been a big debate, so glad you can settle that. Yep. But speaking of catches, so things don't get any easier, right? So this Cardiac Nights thing, you guys really took that to the max. We win against Houston, and then we go to Temple. We're down late. We're Franklin making a comeback game, one of those kind of weird games, and late in the game, Blake rolls to his left, gets absolutely clobbered as he lets the ball go, throws it, I guess, in the middle of nowhere, and out of nowhere comes J.J. Wharton with a catch and obviously the touchdown. Is that the greatest catch you've ever been on the field for? Is that the greatest catch you've ever seen live?
That's the greatest catch I ever seen live. The greatest catch I ever seen live, man. J.J. came with the Michael Jordan Space Jam arm to grab that. It was crazy. I had no clue where Blake was throwing it. Actually, I didn't see JJ down there. I just seen him chuck it up, but I think Blake must have seen him when he came out of the pocket and rolled left, because when he looked and he took a hit too. He got smacked straight in the face, so he let it go with all his might. And next thing you know, I see JJ just come, and then he one-handed it, man. Come on, man, come on, bro. So that is the greatest catch I've ever seen in person, and once again it helped extend the Cardiac Nights another week.
So you already mentioned how you almost ended up being a South Florida Cal. We didn't play them at all your whole career until that final season. Well, not your final, but 2013. What was it like? Did you guys have a sense of the rivalry back then? Because for older guys like us, they kicked the crap out of us in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. We were dying to beat those guys. Did you guys get that sense in the locker room how big of a game that actually was?
Well, at that point in time, Coach O'Leary was trying to ingrain in us that, it really wasn't a rivalry because we had never beaten those guys. We had to beat those guys to even be able to earn their respect and be able to be, saying that, UCF is better than USF. Because at that point in time, we hadn't proved it. And once again, it was a crazy game because they weren't even good that year. But they came out there and played the best ball that they had played all year, and we played great on defense. I would say that we played really good on defense. We held them way below their season averages, and at the end of the game, they did score a touchdown, but offense, made some great plays to get us back in. But the rivalry, I knew how big it was, and I was trying to take it personal because, as you guys know, I thought I was going to be I thought I was going to USF, so it was the same guys that recruited me that were over there that, I was going against. So I wanted to make sure that they knew, they had made a terrible decision and that I had made the right decision. I wanted to prove myself right at that moment. And I knew how big of a rivalry it was in my eyes, just being on a personal level. And, after winning that game and then us doing what we're doing now currently versus those guys down south, to the southwest, we are, proving that, in this rivalry, we're trying to take it up a notch and really showcase, who we are as UCF. So I think back then we all knew, we didn't want to lose to no Florida school and, not even really knowing the history. I mean, I knew the history, but I felt like we tried to carry it as, a big game. So.
All right. So all those big games we just mentioned in 2013, there were a lot of them. They all lead up to one big one at the end, the Fiesta Bowl against Baylor, who's coming in with a historic offense against you guys on defense. I mean, we've heard stories with other guys on that defense, how prepared you were for that game. You basically knew everything that was coming. Take us on the field for that game. What do you remember?
Okay, I'm going to take you through it. I remember about that game writing in my little linebacker book, 70-7. That's what Mark May said on ESPN the night we got announced that we were playing in the BCS, that Baylor was going to beat us by. And and you can look it up, man. He said we were going to lose 70-7. And all week we just got this kind of like animosity on our chest. Like, how dare you say that they would beat us 77? How dare you say that we don't deserve to be here? So I just remember being on the field, just thinking of just winning. That's it. That's always on my mind. I wanted to win because I felt like me and my teammates deserved it. I wanted to win, to put UCF on the map. And I wanted to win because of the lack of respect that people were giving us at that time. Like, we hadn't just faced some great teams that year and, stood up to them and, won big game. So that's what I remember about that game, man. Just going out there to win. And, we were in the NFL stadium. Like, this is a moment. So just like, let's live in this moment. Don't worry about nothing else. Just, one play at a time, enjoy it. You don't get no better than this.
Yeah, another 14 tackles out of you. You're named defensive MVP for the game. What about afterwards, the party, the celebration on the field? What do you remember about that?
Man, just joy. I mean, it wasn't that I couldn't believe it, because that's what I wanted the whole time. I could believe that we could do it, but like to do it, and have that mindset you're gonna do it and then do it. It was just so much joy. Like, we had just accomplished something nobody else had done in UCF history, win a bowl game. And with us being, a young university that was counted out so many times, we were just like, that 2013, not the 2013 team, but we just spit it to the highest level because other teams from the past had been doing it, but we just set the stage like, we're here to stay. We're one of the top teams in the nation, and we proved it tonight, and we proved it that season. So I just remember that, man, just feeling so much joy.
That picture of you and Blake, it's an iconic picture. Now, I know you've seen it. They put a big wall of it now inside the football offices. How cool is that? Do you have that picture at home?
No, I don't. I don't have that picture at home, but I have seen it on Twitter at the UCF facility, and it was just so cool to see that. That was in 2013. That was 8 years ago. It's 2021, and when I see that picture, I just remember that. I just remember Blake handing that trophy over to him. Like, I was like, ooh, this thing heavy. This football heavy. This is this the chip right here. So I just like, it's always good memories. When they can't never take that from us. They can't never take, Fiesta Bowl champs, BCS qualifiers, 12-1 away from us. So that's why I remember.
That is one of the cooler looking trophies. How heavy is that football?
Oh, that football, I don't know the exact weight, but when you hold it, man, it's heavy. And that's why I was, when I grabbed him, like, ooh, don't let me hold this and get too excited and drop it. Boy, that would not be good. But that would not be good. O'Leary grabbed me up by the collar. Man, what you doing? But, yeah, it was a pretty heavy trophy.
All right, well, take us into the next year, Terrance. Obviously, Blake leaves. There's some turnover on some guys who graduate or leave the program. Your senior year, obviously, you just reached an all-time high from a UCF perspective. What was your mindset going into that last year? Obviously, you're a senior, you want to go out on top, but were you concerned about a letdown? Were the guys as motivated? Obviously, there's a whole new squad. Take us into that off season and going into 2014 and kind of what you were feeling as you started your senior year.
Yeah, it was a lot of turnover. Well, it wasn't a lot of turnover because of the fact that we only had 8 seniors. But what I mean by turnover, it was just key positions. Like, Blake was only a redshirt junior, so when he declared for the draft, he left a year early. And then Storm was a redshirt junior, so when he left for the draft, those were like 2 key cogs to our offense that were leaving that we weren't accounting for, compared to, the linemen and, a couple of the receivers and stuff like that. So it was definitely going to be, I thought it was going to be a tougher year maybe. But the thing is that even though, our offense was carrying us 2013, I felt like our 2014 defense was going to be our best defense that I was there, because of so much, so many players that played in 2013 that were coming back. We only lost 2 players off the defense, that were starting in 2013. So I felt like our defense was going to be the backbone. So my mindset that offseason was, let's get back to another BCS. That's what we do now. That's who we are. And we were close. People don't realize that we had some ugly games that year, but if we beat UConn, we got a share for we get a share for the AAC championship. But if we beat UConn, we win it outright. We had a tough day. We weren't prepared out there, and that was the one game that separated us from getting back to a BCS. So my mindset was always trying to get back. I had tasted it. I had felt what it was like. So I felt like that was the whole purpose of being in college, playing for UCF. Let's do it as big as we can while we're here. The moment's right now. So that was my mindset. And every year I played, I always wanted to win conference and be the best team in our conference. And if we win some of those non-conference games, you never know where you might end up. So that was my mindset that year.
Right. We weren't going to ask this question, but since you brought up UConn, we have to ask the question. So true or false, the heater was turned off by O'Leary in the sideline. Can you confirm if that game was the heater gate game, that O'Leary turned off the heaters?
True. He was so upset that UConn was beating us, which he had a right to. We were so much better than they were at that point in time, that he thought that we were all concerned with just it being cold outside, and it was raining, so it was cold. It was like 38 degrees and raining, so it wasn't cold enough to be snowing, but it's wet and it's cold, so it's just like it's just horrible. It's just like coming down just terrible, and he thought we were just too worried about the heaters because we were all huddled up by him, he turned the heaters off in the second half, and we lost. So I felt like if we'd have kept the heaters on, man, everybody would have stayed warm. We'd have been good. But, it was a mind thing. But, he did turn the heaters off.
All right, so you had a bunch of big games in your career, and going through the the stats, one of them stuck out to me the most, and it was that 2014 season, the BYU game. You were just a monster. Let me just run these down for you really quickly. You had 17 tackles, you had a sack, a fumble recovery, and a forced fumble. We hear about guys being in a zone all the time, right? Basketball players talk about being in the zone. Baseball pitchers are in the zone. As a defensive football player, is that kind of like being in the zone? Were you in the zone that day with just the stat line you put up?
Yeah. That day was a tough day for me. It was a good day for me because of the effort that I put forth on the football field, but it was a rough day for me because the night before my uncle had died of leukemia. So, my mom had actually made the call while I'm in the hotel, getting ready, get my rest for the game the next night, and she had told me my uncle had died, and he was the guy who actually helped me get recruited. He was from North Carolina. He coached at a historically black college up there, and he played tight end for them as well, and he knew people in NC State, Duke, North Carolina, so that's why I ended up with some of those offers. But he always believed in me, and he saw my talent early, and he always was helping me, just giving me guidance. And he had been battling leukemia for much of his 30s, and he had beat it twice, but this third time was just too much, and he died. So I felt like the only way to honor him was to play like how he would want me to play. And I think that just tuned me in. I think he was an angel, kind of guided me through, because I was locked in that game. I wasn't talking to anybody. I was just focused on the task at hand. And, we needed that win too. We needed that win. We were 1-2 at the time, and we had lost to Penn State in Ireland, and I had hurt my ankle that game really bad, and I came back the next week versus Missouri, and I wasn't fully myself. And I played good versus Missouri, but I was just so hurt. But we needed that BYU game, and I was in the zone. I just felt like, everything, I just reading everything, reacting, not really thinking about too much, but just trying to go make plays for my uncle.
Oh, that's a really cool story, man. So you at UCF, you finished your career, you're the team captain your senior year, you're team MVP, you win first team All-American Conference, you had all the moments we just talked about, all the accomplishments. When you look back on it, what's something you're the most proud of?
Thing I'm most proud of is that I have a good relationship with my teammates still to this day. I still talk to those guys. Whenever I see them, it's like we just teleport back into the past, and we can just go right into those moments that we used to spend right in front of the towers. We call it the block. Just spending time talking, making fun of each other, getting to know each other. Like I just told you guys, we deal with stuff in college that people don't realize. Like a lot of my teammates had people dying, while they were still out there in college. People that they love back home. And, you get to know these guys, so you get to love them and you feel their pain the way they feel your pain. Like one game, Jacoby Glenn had 2 interceptions, and nobody knows that he had to deal with a death that same day. He found out 30 minutes before the game. And, like I was just trying to tell him, like, I felt this pain, but I just kept trying to tell him, you got to do it for him, bro. This is the only reason, that people sacrifice and show so much love for you guys is for you to go out here and just, shine. So, I remember those moments about my teammates more than anything. That was the best part. I got relationships with these guys for, life. And I know some people, that didn't have that opportunity or weren't gifted that opportunity to have that. So I'm just really blessed to have, great people that I still grew up in college with to still be doing great things with now that I can communicate with.
Yeah, us as fans, we don't even think about stuff like that. We don't even think about you guys going through personal stuff. And as kids, really, you're 19, 20-year-old kids having some big life-changing moments like that. I think we kind of take you guys for granted sometimes when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, and it's no, you guys don't know. You don't know, like a casual fan won't know that, that the players are going through that because it's just not that, behind the scenes or inside all access, it's just not that. But, at the end of the day, how I look at football, it's the one place that we can take everything that's happening to us in the world and let it be erased, and you lock in for 60 minutes. And like you guys say, we get into a flow state in which, we're not really thinking as much, as you would at a normal job or being in class or just, by yourself. What you're doing is you're just, reading, reacting. And it's like one of those things in which, like, from the cheer from the crowd and the rush you get from, making the big play and knowing that, you helping your team, you helping your university, you helping yourself. That's why we should go out there to play. It shouldn't be to, cater to the fans, but we want the fans to be enjoying what the product that they're seeing so they can cheer us on and know that, we're always giving our best effort when you come and pay to come watch us play. And we love that the fans are cheering us on, giving us that extra push, that extra, that extra push. Yep, that extra push, to keep pushing, try to win the game for, everybody that's involved.
So after UCF, you spend some time in the NFL, a little bit with Minnesota, and then you go to Toronto to play for the Argonauts. First of all, what is an Argonaut? Is that anything like a citronaut?
It's kind of like a citronaut. Well, kind of, sort of. An Argonaut is they were warriors that were boat. They're called the boat. Our other nickname was the Boatman. So an Argonaut was a conqueror of the open seas, and they would go to different places and be on the boats, and they would get off the boats and try to conquer different places. So I think a citronaut is almost like we're in the orange groves of Orlando, and then also we got Cape Canaveral down the street that we shoot them up in the air. So I get what they're saying. They're both travelers, but Argonauts a little bit tougher.
Yeah, citronaut's just an orange. It's also an astronaut, I guess. Nobody really knows. But you got to win the Grey Cup up there. How was that? Was that another championship experience for you?
Yeah, man, that was great. I love Canada. I love the NFL too, and if there's ever opportunity for me to get back there because I'm still playing, I want to try to get there. But I'm getting a little older now, so I have to play my game whoever takes it and whoever wants me to come out there and produce for them. So, I still have that dream in my mind. I always want to get back just for, however long I could be able to stretch it out. But playing in the CFL, I would do the same thing because it was such a great experience. That Grey Cup was, we earned that. We were 9-9 that year. We had some tough patches, but just that team, we really bonded with one another. We really had each other's back. And by the time we got the game, I want to say about game 14, we went on a 4-1 run, and in the playoffs we were cooking. So it was a great experience, and we ended up winning the Grey Cup versus a highly favored team. It was one of the best games I ever played in. It was snowing. about 28 degrees out there, full snow, about 6 inches, felt like something crazy like that. It was snowing. It was snowing right during game time, and it didn't stop snowing until the game ended. When we won on a game clinching interception. And I had a good game that game, so like it was a great experience, and the Grey Cup was a great time. Another championship.
Have you had to go up against William Stanback? Have you had to try to tackle him?
No, I didn't. I actually haven't I didn't get a chance that year. 2017, I was playing, and I ended up becoming a starter. The last I had been playing all year, but like the last 12 games, they started putting me in more, and then by the last 6 games, I became a full-time starter. So Stanback wasn't up there. And then 2018, I was the starter, but then I ended up tearing up my knee. I had to get meniscus surgery, so I didn't get to play all of 2018. I only got to play 3 games, but I never got to go against Stanback up there. But I watched him on film. Boy, he was running people over.
That's a big gift. His legs are like tree trunks.
Yeah, he's a solid dude. I'm telling you, man, he's a solid dude.
Well, after that, I know you spent some time with the Tampa Bay Vipers of the XFL, and then I saw on social media you're doing some training stuff now with some kids. So catch us up on where you're at now. You still chasing your football dream? Do you think you maybe want to get into coaching one day? Where are you at right now?
Yes, sir. I'm still chasing my football dream. I'm in great shape. I've been putting in a lot of work ever since the pandemic. I've just been working, man, just trying to work on my body, trying to figure out, how can I get better. So I'm actually at this gym now. That's an athleticism gym called B3 Better. I have a great head trainer there named Jaron Sanders, Colton Lewis, and Byron Lewis. They're great guys. They've really gotten me going. And they offered me a job there to work because they saw how well I connected with people and kids. So I said, you know what? While football is waiting, how about I start transitioning into my next career, because I've always wanted to be a coach, a trainer, always trying to help kids get better, especially in sports. I love sports. I think sports brings out the best character in people, teach you about resiliency and, all the things that, when you don't have extracurricular activities with people who go through hardships, they can't really bring it out in you, So I love that about sports. That's what I'm doing right now. Torian Wilson, also – he's part of Craft and Lineman. We're teaming up to do a big camp in Jacksonville here for offensive lineman and defensive lineman. He's been doing great with his Craft and Lineman brand. He trains NFL all the way to high school guys, and his last group of high school kids had 6 D1 commits to major colleges. So he's doing a great job. So we're gonna team up, and Joey Grant's gonna come film it for us. So I'm just keeping those connections with my teammates, trying to keep pushing myself and training and business, and one day I hope to be coaching at the Division I level. Linebackers, maybe defensive coordinator, head coach. I don't limit myself. So, I'm still chasing my dream right now while it's here, and transitioning for when it's over. So just trying to do my best.
Well, we got to get you back to UCF as a coach one day, and obviously UCF's gone through a bunch of coaching changes in the past couple seasons, but this past offseason, Gus Malzahn comes in, brings in a whole new staff, kind of a whole new era. I mean, billboards are everywhere in our TP. We're seeing new buildings come up, new graphics. Recruiting is kind of taking off. What do you make of where UCF's at now? What do you make of the hire of Coach Malzahn, and what do you think UCF's future is?
So I'm gonna start with Coach Malzahn. I think Coach Malzahn was a great hire for UCF. For one, I feel like ever since Coach O'Leary left, we had kind of been through transition coaches. Scott Frost was a great coach, 6-7 from 0-12. We never really thought we'd have got there, got us to a bowl game. Didn't win, but we showed that we had promise. And that's when we started seeing McKenzie. I felt like Justin Holman did a good job that year, and then McKenzie started showing himself. And it showed that, Coach Frost knew what he was doing. Then the next year we go undefeated, man, and it's amazing. Just so people know, I hold Shaquem Griffin in the highest status. I feel like he's the greatest UCF night defender of all time, because I'm a historian of football as well. And just the impact that kid had out there, from the year before being American Conference Defensive Player of the Year to now being the linchpin of our defense, of going undefeated. It showed how good a coach that Scott Frost and the defensive coordinator, Eric Chanel, I can't pronounce his last name, but it showed how much confidence they had in him. and he really showed it back to him. So that was really great. But the thing is Coach Frost, he wanted to get back to Nebraska, and he saw that as an opportunity. So he took his opportunity, and as any coach should, when they want to get to the opportunity, they can't pass up a job. I respect it, and he left. Then we got Coach Heupel, who I like. I like Coach Heupel. I don't know how to say his last Heupel or Heupel. I can't really say his name, but
we're calling him Heupel from now on.
Heupel, man, Heupel. I don't know how to say it, man. I just know he was a great quarterback. He had some great offenses, and Coach Shannon. I felt like Coach Shannon was a great hire. I feel like Coach Shannon was a great hire on the defensive end. Our defense led the nation in tackles for loss for 2 years in a row, which people don't realize. Getting tackles for loss always throws off the momentum of the opposite offense, and it can really just disrupt the drive. So I thought he was a great hire. But the thing is with Coach Heupel's offense, I just felt like at times it wasn't as crafty as Coach Frost's, and he did have McKenzie, and McKenzie ended up having that horrific injury, and it's such a blessing to see him doing what he's doing now, and I wish that kid the best. He's amazing at FSU, so I can't wait till we play them this year?
No.
Okay, never mind. I think that's for maybe in the future, but that would have been. I thought I saw that on Twitter, but never mind. But I want him to do well. But I just thought at times that when when Coach Heupel was there, our offense just was running just the same kind of plays. Kind of put the guys behind it, put a lot on Dylan. These last 2 years to come out there and really chuck it. He's been amazing. Heisman, early Heisman trophy candidate, I believe. He's on the watch list or whatever. So I believe it was a credit to the players, and it shows how much talent we had, especially with Jacob Bell Harris being a walk-on. And now he got drafted, So, I thought Coach Heupel did a decent job, but I feel like we could have these last 2 years been undefeated as well. I know we have injuries and stuff, but, we still want to be top dogs. But he left, and now we got Coach Malzahn, and I think Coach Malzahn is the perfect fit for UCF because he's kind of almost in that O'Leary role, has success at other colleges, being the head coach, won a national championship, really recruits well, understands Florida, and and I feel like, if he does a good job at UCF and the way they're building it up around there, why leave somewhere else? You can stay here and build, another juggernaut, right here in Florida where the recruiting soil is so thick with players that you can always, field a great team and build around this school. And I think Coach Malzahn is a great hire. I haven't met him yet, and I don't know him, but I just know his background, and I understand that, I feel like he wants to stay. I feel like he's committed to UCF. So, that's all we need at UCF. Somebody's committed. We get the guys in, and it's something about that Orlando, that Gemini Boulevard that, players buy in, and we end up, making great teams.
Yeah, we've seen a bunch of former guys who've had a chance now to go back and hang out with Malzahn and be a part of practice. You got any plans maybe to get down to Orlando and spend some time with there and maybe catch a practice or two?
For sure. I gotta find time because I'm working so hard up here. But I plan on getting down to Orlando, especially for a game this year. I definitely want to see them play, get in the stadium, feel that vibe again. I haven't been in there in a long time, since about 2015. So I definitely want to get in there and catch a game and talk to Coach Malzahn if he has time for me, any of the other coaches, and just be a fan and enjoy, how, me and my teammates built this place up to be what it is now, off our blood, sweat, and tears. And now this next generation, if they want to pay it forward, they should do the same.
Yeah, let's do it. It's time to bring TP home. Let's get TP back into Orlando. So, all right, before we let you go, you've been really generous with your time. Before we let you go, we end every interview around here with some random questions. We'll ask you kind of rapid fire random questions. Could be music, movies, sports, food. You never know what you're going to get. So are you prepared for these random rapid fire questions?
Hey, man, let's do it. Hey, flow. It's time to flow.
All right, here we go. So outside of the football buildings, what's your favorite spot on UCF's campus?
The Oh, I can't remember the name. The middle of the campus. Dadgummit. It's the part that has all the restaurants in the middle. We'll meet up in the center. The student union. Oh goodness, I'm so old. I'm so old now. The student union is my favorite spot.
What was your go-to spot in the student union? Did you have a restaurant or place you wanted to go?
Yeah, they had oh goodness gracious, Huey Magoo's. I had a Wednesday night class, so before class I hit Huey Magoo's around 6:00, grab a 6-piece tender with some fries, and head to class. Lovely.
All right, 4th of July is coming up. What's your favorite holiday? Is that up there for?
Yeah, 4th of July is a great holiday, but definitely Christmas. I just like the time. It's cold outside, so we all inside chilling. Mostly you're around all your family, enjoying yourself. I get to spend time, with my wife and her family, and she does with mine, so I really love Christmas.
All right, what's one song that you secretly like, but you're embarrassed to tell people that you actually like?
Oh, man. Party in the USA, Miley Cyrus.
Okay, all right. That's catchy. It's catchy. I'll give it to you.
It's a catchy song. I don't know if I'm supposed to be liking Miley Cyrus, but it's a catchy song.
All right, are you a better singer or a better dancer?
Better dancer. I can move.
Yeah.
I got some pretty good hips. I'm a better dancer. I'll say that. I can sing, but I'm a better dancer.
Can you moonwalk? What's your go-to move?
I can moonwalk, man. I can moonwalk. But I got, I'm trying to stay young, man. I see what the young kids do. I might check a video out on YouTube, try to practice it in the mirror every once in a while.
Hold on, are you a TikTok dancer? Are you one of those guys?
No, not a TikTok dancer. No,
okay. Okay.
You ain't gonna catch me on TikTok, but I do try to learn some of the dances off of YouTube with some of the kids, with some of the new songs and stuff. So I guess I am kind of like a TikTok dancer, but I'm a YouTube dancer, I guess you could say.
Terrance, I got a 13-year-old that all day long, all she's doing, like she's in the pantry, like doing some sort of TikTok dance, like she's getting the laundry, doing some sort of. It's like all day long. It's all she does. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's great. It's going. TikTok is taking over, man. It's taking over.
Who knew?
I've been hearing stories about it. That's hilarious.
All right. Have you ever hit somebody so hard that you felt bad for them?
Yes. I was gonna say no because I really don't, but I broke a guy's collarbone one time in high school, and a collarbone, you're not coming back. Every time else I hit somebody, they usually got up or was like, lost air or maybe, broke a finger or something. But I broke a guy's collarbone, and I did feel a little bad about it. But next play, I was right back in it. It's part of the game. But I did think twice about it, like, ooh, I broke his collarbone. Let's go.
Did you apologize? Just say sorry after the game or anything, or just kept moving?
No, I just kind of said sorry in my head.
Fair enough.
He was in so much pain that they kind of carted him off and put him on the ambulance. So I guess I couldn't say sorry, and I didn't know the kid, so it just was one of those things. But I bet he remembers me. So, hope he doesn't hold any grudges.
All right, what's the better feeling? Hitting the quarterback for a big sack or getting an interception?
Interception. I want to feel like I'm Deion, man. Everybody want to feel like Deion every once in a while. Ray Lewis, you get that. I mean, Ray Lewis got sacks too, but when you get that interception, and you got the opportunity to possibly get a pick six, it's no better feeling. I love that when I get a interception.
Yeah, after that Memphis interception, you should have done a little high step like Deion on the way back to the sidelines or something.
Yep.
Think O'Leary would have liked that?
Yeah. I did. Oh, you said did O'Leary like that?
I said, you think he would have liked that if you did that?
Oh no, man! He just snatched me up by the collar. I used to celebrate. I used to celebrate when I had my back to him, so he couldn't really. I couldn't look at him before I had to get to the next play. He wasn't gonna send me off the field, but I had to get I wanted to feel good.
All right. Well, bonus question. Since we're talking about the white horse himself, Mr. George O'Leary, do you have a George O'Leary impression? Can you give us an impression of Coach O'Leary, something he would say a lot?
Okay. Y'all bear with me. All right. Y'all bear with me. Plummer, get over here. You think because last week you did good in the game that I'm not going to be on your head top all game. Let me tell you something, son. You will be on the first Greyhound bus home, and you can book it, Ace.
That's the best way to punctuate. The ace was the perfect. Did you guys? So we learned about the White Horse from Justin Holmes. Did you guys call him the White Horse a lot? Was that how often were you guys talking about the White Horse when he wasn't around?
When I wasn't around him, I call him George. I'd be like, man, George on my head today. When I'm around him, Coach O'Leary. So he never heard me call him George. I don't even feel comfortable calling him George to his face now, and I'm not even playing for him as a grown man. So, but yeah, we used to talk about Coach, you know. But the thing is, when we were talking about Coach, I think Coach wanted us to talk about him.
Yeah.
I think he wanted us to kind of, you know, not like, you know, respect him, but not like him to the point where that, because he was always telling us something that we just wanted to be able to shut his mouth, you know what I mean? Kind of like put him down to where, like, you know, we're doing so good that he can't even, you know, criticize us. So that's what we used to always talk about, man. We gotta make Coach not even say nothing today. We don't want to hear nothing he talk about. I mean, we firing on all cylinders. So yeah, we used to talk about Coach. You know, he used to get on us, but when I look back on it, he was preparing me for real life. So I appreciate him for that.
Yeah, we've had him on the show twice. We're really lucky. And he's been so nice to us every time. He's talked to us for like a couple hours. Couldn't have been nicer. Like, if we need anything, says to call him back. Like, Mike and I were scared the first time we talked to him. We were like, oh my God, he's going to yell at us. He's going to make us run suicide. We're not even there. He's going to make us run. But he could not have been nicer to us, man. So it's funny to hear you guys talk about him, because everyone has that same kind of healthy fear of him. But ultimately, it seems like a lot of you guys have a ton of respect for what he taught you.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think Coach was always trying to gain our respect more than anything. And when I think about it, you know, as a man, you know, not everybody's gonna like you, but he wanted that respect, and he really got it out of us. And I respect Coach, and I'm thankful for him being my coach those 4 years. He really improved me as a man.
Well, Terrance, we definitely.
You must have been working on that impression. You did one of the best ones we've heard. I don't know if anyone else does a better one than that.
That's because he was yelling at me the most. When it becomes ingrained in your mind.
Well, Terrance, we will never yell at you, because you are a true UCF legend, and we definitely appreciate you taking some time to join us tonight and give us some of your background, some of your stories, man. We definitely enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you in the bounce house real soon and join a UCF game.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for having me on. Go Knights. I'm just thankful for the opportunity to just, be around still and keep pushing the brand forward.
Awesome, man. Charge on.
All right, charge on.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each week for unique yet common sense opinions on sports on the Jeff Allen Sports Talk Podcast. We will break down the sports world minus the hot takes with prominent guests and my stable of sports guys. It's sports conversation the way it should be. Search Jeff Allen Sports Talk wherever you get your podcasts, or go to jeffallensportstalk.com.
Mike and Adam, Sons of UCF. That'll move those chains. That's good enough for another UCF first down.
All right. Cow of the week will be with you momentarily, Mike. Terrance Plummer, the 3 highlights from that interview that I will take with me forever. Number one, that he almost became a cow. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that's possible, but I literally almost threw up in my mouth when he said he was going to be a cow. And I cannot believe that they decided that they did not want him. I don't know what they were doing. Number 2, that he wrote down Mark May 70-7 in his notebook prior to the Fiesta Bowl. I forgot about Mark May. He disappeared from my life, and I have not missed him since. And third, Mike, one word, Heupel.
Heupel cracked me up almost as much as his O'Leary impersonation. That was great what he had there at the end. And speaking of great, Terrance Plummer was a great football player. I mean, looking at his stats, over 100 tackles 2 years in a row, and then followed that up with 99 tackles his senior year. Total 334. That is pretty darn good, man. Great player he had. It's some big moments and some big games.
Yeah, I mean, I think you forget about how good he was, but you just pull up his stat sheet. I mean, he had so many big plays, and we talked about the picture. I will never forget that picture. I think I still have that picture from the Pegasus magazine that particular period of him and Blake holding the trophy, staring up at it. I thought that was a really cool photo. So great to catch up with Terrance Plummer. We had actually tried to have him on almost a year and a half ago, and it just didn't work out that night when we were supposed to connect with him. So glad we can finally get all that figured out, and glad to have TP on the show. He will definitely, I guess if he had gone to the Cows, he could have been Cow of the Week. Luckily he didn't, so he saves himself from being Cow of the Week. So let's see who did not save themselves though, Mike. People got to be cows, and it's our responsibility to share them with you. So why don't you start and tell me who your Cow of the Week is?
Well, I saw a video this weekend. I guess it's gone viral by now. The Tour de France. France? How do you say it properly? I guess you got to say France, right? When you talk about it.
Tour de France. Yeah, I think I say France.
Big time race every year. Everybody knows Lance Armstrong, and every year this is the big thing. This is their Super Bowl basically over there. And this past week, there was a lady standing on the sidelines as a spectator, there with a sign, and I guess she had a friend on the other side who was going to take a picture of her when the cyclists were going by her. And big problem was she stuck her sign out a little bit too far. One of the guys banged into her and caused about, 50 other guys to fall over on their bikes, and basically ruined the whole race for all these guys. Right at the start of it, right at the very beginning of this race, there was like 3 or 4 guys that got by, and then you just see them look over their shoulders and see the whole rest of the race is falling on their face. This lady is a cow. This lady has fled the country, by the way. They can't find her anywhere. She's a fugitive, and I don't know what's going to happen to her if they actually catch her. This is a big. You talk about a guy streaking on the field during the Super Bowl, has no effect on the game at all, right? Just does it for publicity. This lady has sabotaged the entire Tour de France. Cow of the Week worthy for sure. Obviously, it doesn't look like she did it intentionally, but I don't know what the heck she was thinking. And she's carrying a huge sign. You've seen the video of it, right?
I have.
To me, it was funny, obviously, because I don't really have any money in the game. I don't care who wins this race. And if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't even have known that the race was going on. But man, you talk about these guys that have trained for this thing year round and finally get their big chance. They're in it now. And we take off, and boom, you're out of it within the first couple of minutes because some lady had to get some picture, I guess, for her Twitter or Instagram or whatever it's going to be for. She just needed her moment in the sun and ruined these guys' opportunity for greatness.
First thing, I think you said she had to flee to the country. I think it's fled. But second thing, if her sign said at Sons of UCF, would you be okay with it?
Oh, yeah.
See?
I wish it would have said Sons of UCF.
There you go. So I think it's really not Cow of the Week unless it benefits us. Is really I think where it is. So we're gonna need somebody to get up into the Tour de France and get us a Sons of UCF sign. Don't hurt anybody. Maybe just get us a sign out there.
In fact, we should just start superimposing that right now and just make that sign into a Sons of UCF sign.
Working on it.
We can get that to go viral.
Working on it for sure. Okay, so that's a good Cow of the Week. I have a bunch of options, Mike. Maybe I'll do like a quick little 6-pack of Cow of the Week options because I got so many I want to get through. We talked about the NC State thing, and you and I didn't follow this very closely, so I don't want to speak without any a lot of information. But NC State was disqualified from the College World Series due to some COVID stuff. Sounds like a couple guys tested positive, but they had already been vaccinated. So there's a whole big situation there. And the NCAA, instead of trying to figure this out, they just disqualified them from the tournament. And so NC State did not get a chance to play. I think they've now declared themselves national champions. I don't know how that works out. But once again, the NCAA just never seems to figure out like the right thing to do. And their answer is always disqualify people, particularly college kids, particularly in playoff situations. We saw this with the golf tournament that got canceled or postponed in Louisiana. So who knows what's going on there. So that's option one. Option two, Mike, did you know there was a freaking tropical storm out there?
No, I didn't.
Is
it close to me?
No, it's in Georgia and South Carolina. This tropical storm Danny formed like yesterday afternoon and already hit the coast. Why are we doing hurricanes already? I thought we all agreed we weren't going to do this anymore. What are we doing with hurricanes? I don't understand how we got there.
It is hurricane season. I believe June 1st is the beginning, and we're going all the way to November.
November 30th, yeah. I just wasn't prepared for this already, and so we have a hurricane out there. Number 3, Mike, I don't think you follow the NBA playoffs, but do you know who Patrick Beverley is?
I've heard the name. I wouldn't be able to pick him out of the lineup.
He's just one of these guys. Like, he broke Devin Booker's nose. He just almost tried to kill Chris Paul tonight in the playoffs. He's one of those guys who's out there playing basketball who's not really interested in playing. He kind of wants to, like, hurt somebody, and that always just annoys me. So Patrick Beverley, if you're familiar with his work, he also might be Cow of the Week worthy. And then, Mike, I have Scottie Pippen, who has a new brand of I don't know. Was it bourbon? Is it whiskey? I don't know what it is. He has a new brand of liquor that's out, and he's been making the media rounds while he's promoting this thing. And he seems to be just stepping in all kinds of controversies for some reason that don't have anything to do with him. He knocked Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons, and then today he called Phil Jackson a racist. I don't know what Scottie Pippen's doing. He's also got a weird hairdo these days, which is also unnerving, Mike. But Scottie Pippen, I mean, like 20 years ago, he's still mad about stuff, and now's the time to tell about it. So Scottie Pippen also gets a Cow of the Week nomination.
Oh, I think Scotty knows the saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity. He's just getting his name out there because he's got this new liquor, I guess. And people are Googling Scottie Pippen and the things he's going to say today. And then, by the way, I'm selling this new spirit here for you.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, he's just all over the place. And I don't even know why Scottie Pippen's on. He was on Le Batard last week, I think. He was on Dan Patrick today. He's making the rounds. I don't even really know why. But he seems to be, getting himself in some hot water. So those are my 4, I guess, Cow of the Week options. I guess you can choose which one's more cow-worthy to you, but those are 4 things that, I don't know. I think they all deserve some nominations.
No Tippin' Pippin. The baseball thing, college baseball. Another thing that's coming out of that is them declaring themselves national champions. Of course, all the UCF jokes coming back around. What did the Collie Matrix put them at? I don't know. I don't think they're getting recognized in the record book as national champs. So good luck to them with that. I don't know, man. Some weeks we have no cows, and I ask you who you got for Cow of the Week, and we sit there for a couple of minutes trying to figure it out. And some weeks we have 10. So
yeah,
we have an overflow of cows this week.
Overflowing cows, which is never a good thing, Mike, because cows are not good. But what was good is our guest this week, Terrance Plummer, and Trace Trylko, kind of an unscripted Trace Trylko, but it was good to catch up with Trace. Obviously, he's been a big part of the Sons of UCF live experience, which has now been going on, as we learned, live on the show tonight for 23 episodes. So good to have Trace as part of the family here and as part of the show. Make sure you catch us on Thursday nights and follow him on Twitter and do all that good stuff as well. And then follow us, do all that good stuff for us at Sons of UCF, wherever you want to do all your social media stuff. I think Mike and I may be off next week. I think we're debating a little holiday week, taking some time away and spending with some family and the holiday stuff. So check back next week. If there's a show, then we're not off. If there isn't a show, then we'll see you when we see you. But as always, we appreciate everyone for listening, following, and just supporting us overall. And Mike, what are you doing Thursday? You going to be around on Thursday?
Yeah, I'll be around Thursday with you knuckleheads and talk some UCF stuff. We got the holiday coming up, like you said, next week, so we'll probably take the next Monday off. Maybe you'll get another Sunday night conversation next weekend or something. Maybe we can throw out an old interview for you guys to keep you busy through the week so you can still keep us in your ear. But, yeah, I should be ready for Thursday and then, get into the holiday weekend. Hopefully nobody blows their hands off like JPP. It's another cow thing to do.
That's fair.
So, and everybody stay safe.
Do we have UCF names that connote fireworks?
Ooh, off the top of my head, I don't know.
I got nothing. We're going to think about that. If you find one, let us know. But until then, maybe we'll have one on Thursday for you. Everybody, have a great week. Go Knights.
Charge on.